But a little later afterwards, Raptor and I spent about an hour and a half, and we installed the EBN cell that I had intended to just bring for show and tell. Now it's actually in the Honda, and it's working, and it's actually about twice as efficient because it is built upon the design parameters that we have learned going forward, and even that is an early prototype. We have created a unit of measurement that we call MMW, milliliters of gas per minute per watt of energy input. And if you run the numbers backward from Faraday's calculations, we estimate someplace around 7.5 mmW to be the 100% efficiency mark. And I don't know anybody who has achieved 7.5, but I do know Mr. Jarbo here has verifiably produced 7.3 mmW.
That's the same type cell. It's a voice cell.
It is a voice cell, right?
Which was very expensive to build and put together. This is the answer right here.
I agree.
Zero.
Absolutely agree.
Once we do this, the 6x6 stainless steel well-cut plate
is going to be one of the most heavily produced commodities in the United States of America.
Future denomination of the dollar goes down to 2. So we'll be trading
6x6 plates. That's right.
In case anybody wants the contact information.
Yes.
The guy's name is Richard Conan.
Richard Conan, right.
And on the website it's actually listed as REK Machine and Mold. And the business phone number, if anybody wants to write it down, is 941-722-1174.
I'm going to publish all of that at alt-nrg.org, my website, so you'll be able to go there under the links section and find his information. Yes, ma'am. He was here to meet with the. Oh, there he is. Stand up, sir. Give this man a hand. He is gonna really. Based on the criteria that we were able to brainstorm with him on this morning, we're gonna produce a generic product that we believe will be widely accepted in the consumer marketplace, and of course he's going to get all the business for those plates that he likes to make, and that's what.
Like a plug and play.
This will be in a kit form. I'm sure there will be dealers springing up all over the place who will build them for customers and install them as well. But I think most of the people who are still in the stage of experimenting with HHO are of the experimenter mindset and building them themselves right now. But again, there's plenty of us. There certainly is plenty of us. Probably someplace in the neighborhood of $2 to $2.50 per shim, and I guess the stainless steel plates will, I think, go for about $6 a plate. You can get them for. So, depending on how big you want to build the cell and what voltage you want to operate it at, that will be the determining factor of the cost. Figure a 31 plate system times 6, so that's $180. For the stainless steel plates, and then you've got another $60 for the plastic shims, and then your plumbing and your fittings and your hardware and whatever other support circuitry. So for under $500, you should be able to build a very respectable cell and control circuitry. Now, yes, ma'am.
Is this dry or wet?
Okay. Let's define what a dry cell is and what a wet cell is.
Another thing, will you be putting out definitions? Because I've already heard 20 things that I don't understand.
Okay. Yeah.
Acronyms instead of, but if you put out definitions, I'll help get it out.
I'll make a distinct effort to publish that type of information at my website. But just to define what a wet cell is. A wet cell is any electrolyzer where the electrolyte is in direct contact with the plates, with the electrolyzer plates. Now, the square design that have the gasketed material, that is still technically a wet cell. but it is not a submerged wet cell. Okay, so we have different acronyms that we use for the various designs. Some people call it the canister type with the cluster hanging inside of it a wet cell. And yes, that is a wet cell, but it's a submerged wet cell. So other people call them swimmers, whatever you want to, right? Whatever you want to call it, but that is a wet cell. And even the cell that we are producing as part of the Energy Builders Network, with the sealed gaskets and the compression bolts around the edge, that is also a wet cell, but it is an encased and sealed wet cell where you don't have to worry about spillage. Okay, that's the benefit of that. And also, repairable and upgradable. That's correct. All you need to do is take the bolts out, put in longer bolts or shorter bolts, restack your plates, put in new gaskets, off you go. But there is no one-size-fits-all solution either. The canister design, I have an experimental canister design that achieves 5.5 mmW. As does the EBN rectangular cell design, achieves 5.5 mmW. So the overall efficiency of those two designs are the same. What's different is the form factor. And what that does is it gives you the ability to install the cells in more than one application, because guess what, folks? I couldn't put that EBN cell in my Honda if I tried. It just won't go in there. And I wanted to before, well, at least not under the hood. Right now it's in the trunk. And I have tubing running all the way from the trunk to the front, and there's obviously a time delay from the amount of time that the AHHO is being generated in the back to the time that it reaches the secondary stage bubbler underneath the hood and flashback arrestor before it gets to the intake manifold. Yes, sir?
But you could run a double vacuum pump like I'm doing.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could. Now, and that would keep the system purged and flowing all the time. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so where was I going with that? Form factor. I have the EBN cell in the trunk, and it's right now producing with 27 amps in at 13.5 volts. It produces just over 2 liters a minute. So it is running 5.5 mmW, just slightly higher than that. Generally speaking, I think that in order to achieve any significant gains in the internal combustion engine process, you're going to need at least 1 to 2 liters per minute of gas production per liter of engine displacement.
Would you repeat that?
And could you provide a basis for that?
The basis that I can provide, I'll make the statement and then I will provide the basis for the statement. The statement is, you need more HHO than is commonly believed in order to have a substantial impact on the combustion process. The vast majority of gains that people are reporting from installing HHO kits that produce gas at rates any lower than the levels that I'm discussing are realizing their gains only by leaning out their systems beyond the safe operating limits, I believe, of the engine that would allow the engine to maintain those states for any long period of time. I believe that they are getting those gains at the expense of engine longevity. And I really need to drive that point home. I don't believe that the gains are coming from the actual HHO. When you see an electrolyzer cell with its outlet tube in a glass mason jar going boop, boop, boop. Sorry, folks, that's not going to do it.